Hello and welcome back to the Influence Hour. I'm your host Kenyo, and this is your news culture editorial show. So it's been a really great episode. Oh, once again, we are presented by AFTV5 here in Austin, and you can watch globally, all around the world. Actually, just go to aftv5.com. It's that simple. And then also, I want to take this moment. Go ahead and find AFTV5 on Facebook. While you're at it, find AFTV5 on Instagram. While you're at it, find AFTV5 on YouTube. Okay.
Find
So,
AFTV in your soul.
yeah, I have a very soulful guest here with me today. This is guest number 2 from the Liberated Lotus Collective. As they're ramping up, promoting their event here in Austin. It's going to be on June 23rd, and you also see some mentions of me in that. Just full disclosure. And I'm very excited for that. I'm very excited to have you as a guest. I'll do the same thing I do with Gavin. I'll let you introduce yourself.
I'm Sunny. I'm 25 years old. I'm here from Austin, and I'm a yoga teacher.
Very cool.
It's basically, I guess, the gist of me.
Very cool. Very cool. Very awesome. So earlier in the episode, we were talking a lot about what it's like when someone goes through the journey of self-actualization, whether that is as an entrepreneur, whether that is as an influencer, and then their duty to give back. I just from talking with you a little bit before, we talked about some of the principles of yoga, and how they are all encompassing, and how it's a philosophy, and how it's a way of life. Let's talk about that a little bit. You talked about the balance of mind, body, and spirit. Why is that so important to you?
Well, if I'm not thinking right, I'm not doing the things I want to do or doing the things I need to do. And then my body is being inactive, it's sedative, it's no longer doing anything. And my spirit gets still.
Mm-hmm.
So with yoga, you're always constantly moving both the energy, the prana, the mind with your conscious thought, and the body through asanas and postures.
Mm-hmm.
So you're always working all three of them together. You're never sitting still. You're
Very
always
cool.
creating.
Yeah. Austin is actually a great community. If I haven't said that enough, Austin, I love you. You're beautiful. There's so many beautiful people here in Austin. And I feel like, that can be shown in the fact that there's yoga is huge here.
Mm-hmm.
There's huge, they got yoga, but like Starbucks style yoga, where they have like chains of,
Pop-up classes everywhere.
yoga studios and stuff like that. So it's a very mindful community. And actually, when I read the statistic earlier, it said that there were 2,000 to 2,500 homeless people on a given night in Austin. That's definitely way too many, but it's also way less than I thought there was going to be. And, when I think about different cultures and communities that I've been to, Los Angeles, there's a crazy homelessness epidemic, and then you go somewhere more like Japan, where they really do think they do have some of those more Eastern philosophies and stuff like that. And I saw almost no homelessness. Me and Mr. Composition were talking about that on the first episode. How do you think that whole blend of mind, body, and spirit creates a healthier society?
Well, when you start to think consciously, you start to realize yourself. And when you can realize yourself, you realize the other person is you, the other being, whether it's a dog or a cow or another human being. And when you can reflect that between yourself and something else, you're mindful of the choices you make to others.
I love it. A huge part of the reason why I think we do this show is to use media to create a little bit of that consciousness for people, and try to talk about some of the subjects that are super important and that get missed. Even the fact that we throw around the word homelessness so much, we can become numb. Just to that word, and it can become something that we just kind of tuck away, and we feel like is a basic part of reality. When these are real people, like you said, it's important to find that balance in yourself so that you can pause and see that there are a lot of real people in real situations that are really hurting. I don't know if you've ever slept outside on the concrete? Well, not just like for fun, because I feel like people do that.
I was blessed enough to never have to sleep outdoors, but there was a little period of time that I was in my car for a while.
Yeah,
Very short
I've
period of
experienced
time.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's honestly a give and take. If you're not giving, you can't be taking.
hmm You know, and I think personally, I've talked with friends, and I'm like, okay, so living in your car on the scales of homelessness, that's like the best, right? But that doesn't take away from the shock and the trauma of the experience, you know, because it's not something that, and it depends, you know, but for so many of us, you know, we were built up, you know, to view, you know, this idea of homelessness is the worst thing that can ever happen, you know, and so it's just like, it can be really, really, really powerful. What was that like for you? That area of emotion, and kind of how did you deal with that and conquer that through? I guess you were continuing to do yoga during that time. Not so much.
Not so much.
So then, how was that?
So that was a different lifetime ago, really.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to not be on my own. I had someone with me, and my partner with me, and we were just kind of in her car, and we would drive around from city to city for a little bit. So
Okay.
we
So it was
kind of did the traveler thing.
It was almost fun.
It was a little bit
Okay.
fun, so I can't say it's the same. It's really not.
Yeah.
It was a choice we made to do it together.
Okay, very cool. I've heard a lot about this, that as a choice, and I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, if you go to LA, you go down to Santa Monica Boulevard, you'll see tons of people sleeping in their car just because rent is so expensive.
And I mean, that was one of the biggest factors
Yeah.
for that summer was we're not in school anymore. Where are we going to live? We're not going to be in student housing. We can't afford a real apartment with utilities and water bill, electricity bill, internet, all that stuff. So, I mean, for the time being, it was a small term solution, short term.
What would you say was like the most difficult couple days or something in that experience?
I think it would just have to be like being in close quarters with somebody for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many weird aspects to it, and the reason why I kind of wanted to dive into a little bit is so that we can humanize some of these issues. I think that, just like you said, with yoga and being more not passive and being more mindful and being present and studying yourself can give you the capacity to be able to empathize with people who are in these really real situations, and take them a little bit more seriously, and think about maybe how some of your decisions when you're out shopping affect those situations, because we're voting every day. You know, there's elections, but we vote every day with the things that we purchase. You brought a brand of my favorite mineral water in here, Topo Chico. We're not going to show it.
You shouldn't be saying it either.
No.
It's an endorsement.
It's not an endorsement. It is my favorite brand of mineral water. I was a Perrier guy until I found Topo Chico. This is serious for me. But now they're owned by Coca-Cola, so they've gotten into the machinery. And I don't want to demonize a company because it's successful.
I feel like you should be demonizing Coca-Cola, though. I mean, didn't they have like people assassinated in, where was it, Colombia or something like that?
Disclaimer, the opinions and the statements of our guests do not necessarily reflect those of the host or AFTV Bible.
I think you should look this up. I'm pretty sure it is Coca-Cola.
Let's do it. I want to see what this says.
It was something to do with land that was natives were using, and they wanted it, so they got rid of the governing body.
Coca-Cola boycott launch. This is the Guardian.com. So if you don't know, the Guardian is a very reputable news source. Coca-Cola boycott launched after killings at Colombian plants. I'm gonna read a random little thing. The latest
death. That was anti-unionist, probably, if that's what it says.
I don't know exactly. Let me read this a little bit. Okay, this one right here. One of the union's accusations is that managers at a bottling plant in the town of Caparra in North Colombia directed paramilitary fighters to kill 2 union leaders in 1994 2 years later, a member of the union's executive board was killed at the plant by paramilitary gunmen, the lawsuit says.
That's pretty heavy.
That's pretty heavy. That's pretty damning. I don't know where things came down on it, but like we like to think about some of these things as conspiracies, and they're just not. Like a lot of things. Well, okay, this I'm not 100% agreeing with this, but I don't know yet, so I can't back it up. But there are things like this that happen all the time that are super real, and we have to be mindful of the fact that the way that we go about capitalism has real effects, and just like we're destroying, a lot of our natural habitat, we're also having a weird effect, in some ways. I do think we're in a really good place, but we have to be mindful of the cultural effect
Of capitalism?
of our choices as consumers.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, capitalism creates a culture where the majority are consumers.
Mhm.
We're not generating anything. It's
Mhm.
the companies and the corporations want to do all the generation, so they get all the profit.
You know
So
what? I think that's huge. Continue.
They really do suppress the intellect, suppress the mind, and keep people uneducated so they can't generate their own things. They can't create as well. So it's honestly like being put in a box. Mind, body, and spirit. You can't do anything because you have to take from another person. You have to give them your money, give them your time, give them your energy.
I think that's so huge and so true. We don't understand the degree to which we live inside of the paradigm of the brands that we consume.
Mm-hmm.
It's very fascinating. So I was reading something from, let's see, this is from a blog called Ideas with Paul, and I liked it. It was about unconscious consumerism. And I'm actually going to read. He explains what unconscious consumerism is a little bit. Let's see. Well, I can't find the paragraph. But essentially, unconscious consumerism is just the fact that we spend a lot of money, we vote a lot, and we have no idea what we're voting for. And this is cool because he has 4 steps to battle unconscious consumerism in your own life. 1, become aware of unconscious consumerism. It's like the 12-step program. Admitting is the first step. Coming to terms that you could have bought a car a quarter of the price from what you paid. Coming to terms that renting just makes more sense than buying for you. Coming to terms that you don't need a $120 a month phone bill. That's step 1. Just coming to terms with the fact that you do unconsciously consume a lot of stuff because you're just in the lane, And a lot of it is lifestyle. You want a certain kind of lifestyle that's depicted, and a lot of people don't know how to invent lifestyle. Instead, they consume lifestyle.
They buy into it.
Yeah, exactly. You watch a television show, and then you consume lifestyle. So turn off the news and tune out. That's step 2.
That's
go
really
for the
funny. There's a saying in Kundalini Yoga called tune in to tune out, because you're tuning into yourself with a little breath and a little chant at the beginning. Tune out of everything else.
Yeah. And I think also with the way that we consume, I think if I have a poem that I write, for every year. In my poem for 2018, I talk about the simple method for changing, for creating change, and a big part of that is purchasing from local vendors, art vendors. I can't say enough what it does for you when you're consuming something that is influenced by you, because of its proximity to you, and investing into your own culture and saving some of your money for that is so healthy, I think, to your mindset when you're doing that. Yeah, and when you know someone who, like, you have a friend who does massage therapy, or like you have a friend who I don't know, whatever it is, when you consume from these people, you're actually tightening the network. See, we're getting very close to the point where we exist inside of a global market, right? Where the money circulates globally, but actually concentrates in certain areas. Well, what's possible for us to do in small groups of 50 to 150 is to create a circulation of currency, still using regular money. We don't have to invent our own money, but create a way that the money travels inside of our own circles, and that allows a culture to gain its wealth.
That stops a CEO or a president from putting their hand in and grabbing some of that money out of the community, out of the well-being of your friends and family, and taking it for themselves.
So everybody, right now, make 15% of your budget. Spend it inside your community. Done. Step 3, educate yourself and become financially literate. Super huge. Step 4, see the silliness that exists around you. Don't step on your own soapbox, but you'll realize, I don't know what this guy's saying. But anyway,
his soapbox.
But definitely go check that out, ideaswithpaul.com. I'll probably share the link on my Facebook page. You can check me out, facebook.com/Kinyo. One more thing I wanted to just reference really quickly. This is a little passage that I took about wealth and how it's taken from some of these other countries, because you look in Africa, just what we're doing to ourselves here, we're also doing to far greater extents in lots of other countries. Like
we just figured out in Colombia.
Exactly. In Colombia, we literally, like people are literally getting killed for
paycheck, money.
For Sprite.
Yeah, that's true. That's really
people
sad,
are literally getting killed for your ability to drink Fanta.
When you make the choices to pay for something, you're giving the company a reason to do more of it. So if you're buying from a company that's doing something bad, they're like, well, clearly the consumers want it, and they will continue that.
Yeah. This little passage was talking about the Congo again. There's so much craziness going on out there, and there's so much wealth being siphoned, directly, whether it's diamonds or conflict minerals, as we talked about a little bit in the last episode. The Congolese elite. I'm reading this little passage. The Congolese elite, and vastly more for the prospectors, but offered little to the poverty-ravaged population. Okay, here's where I want to start. From 1999 to 2002, the Kabalia regime transferred ownership of at least $5 billion of assets from the state mining sector to private companies under its control with no compensation or benefit for the state treasury. So that's just a little bit telling you about how this money it's exiting the country without even touching the government. Well, actually, it's touching the government officials because they're getting paid off in different ways, but it's not even entering into the government so that it can be redistributed to the people. It's not even getting taxed, and the people are working in terrible conditions. Consumerism is super duper important. One of the last steps that this guy put from that little thing that I just read you on the Ideas with Paul, he said, become financially literate. Well, guess what? AFTV5 is making it pretty easy for you to do that. They're starting these monthly networking and knowledge sharing events, and the first one is already, we got one person from the city of Austin, one person from People Fund, and then someone from the Small Business Administration. And there's lots of resources like these that people just don't use at all. Like, they're paid for too to try to help people, but they're not really advertised enough. So there's stuff out here, and Austin's doing a really good job, and AFTV5 is jumping in there to help out a ton. It's too late. Everything's we'll just pick up from there. So June 7th is the first one. If you're watching after June 7th, go ahead and go to the AFTV5 and figure out how you can be involved in one of these events. This is the flyers for the ones that are coming up. Networking and knowledge sharing, opportunity to learn where and how to get a loan for your small business. For a lot of you, it's that money you want. Meeting objectives, networking and knowledge sharing, information updates from experts on government policies, community issues, education in areas of interest to the community, identification of emerging trends and possible business opportunities. The speakers for this first one, I want to get the exact name of. Okay, so there's going to be Xavier Zarate from the city of Austin, Amber Kani, or Kani, I hope I'm saying her name right, from People Fund, and then there's going to be Lionel Davila from the Small Business Administration. So that's just on the first one. So definitely check that out if you're here in Austin, or go to AFTV5. I'm sure they'll have some recordings of the event, and if you come check it out, actually, I will be your moderator at that event. So June 7th, I'll be moderating that talk. It's going to be a bunch of fun. It's a chance for you to learn, and there's so much, even if you don't live in Austin, you're somewhere else, there's so many resources for you to learn now. We got the internet. There's this website called Coursera where you can get a ton of different college degrees for free. I'm telling you, there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of different ways to learn. I thank you guys so much for watching Influence Hour. I'm your host, Kinyo. We're here at AFTV5, and it was so great. Thank you to Liberated Lotus Collective and Kelly for corralling her folks, and I'm excited for everything that you guys are getting ready to do here in Austin. And I'm sure we'll have another Liberated Lotus Collective / Influence Hour hangout session here at AFTV5. And thank you, Sunny, for coming and sharing your sunlight and your your awesomeness with us. I hope you had fun.
I did. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, guys. Catch you next time.